Next comes malware. When we are talking about digital security, malware is something we must know about. Malware is short for malicious software. It's a kind of software, but it aims to harm our device or want to steal our data in private. So malware is a general term that represents different kinds of threats to your device. There are a few types of malware given in the slide, such as virus, trojans, spyware, worms, and ransomware. There can be more types of malware, but let's focus on these for now. So the main aim of hackers or cybercriminals is to deploy different kinds of malware into your device to steal or manipulate your data for their own benefit. So let's learn more about these different types of malware so we can better protect ourselves. Starting off with virus. What most viruses do is attack a clean and uncorrupted file in your device and attach themselves to it. Viruses are able to copy themselves and spread throughout your device, thus corrupting your system, deleting important files, and even destroying your data. Then let's talk about spyware. I'll come back to Trojan a little later. We can get an idea when we hear the word spyware. It's like someone is spying on you, watching you, taking notes about you without your consent. Spyware is unwanted software that infiltrates your computing device, stealing your internet usage data and sensitive information such as passwords and credit card numbers. Next, we come to worms. Worms are similar to viruses. They can replicate themselves and corrupt your device. But the main difference is they can also spread to other computers or other devices. Another thing is worms do not need any kind of human interactions to spread themselves. They have the ability to do that automatically using different kinds of computer networks. Moving on to ransomware. These dangerous kinds of malware attack important files in your device and locks them. And then it threatens that it will delete these important files unless you pay a demanding fee. Ransomware is a criminal money-making scheme that can attack your device from deceptive links, spam emails, or even downloading suspicious files. Now let's come back to Trojans. Trojan is a type of malware that often disguises itself as a legitimate software. So you think you are installing a necessary software for your device, but it can actually be a Trojan in disguise. So these types of malware have the ability to fool your system into thinking that it is actually an important software. An example can be when our device starts to get slow or laggy, sometimes we look into third-party software for boosting its speed. These third-party speed boosting software can be Trojans in disguise. After installing these software, we can see while it says it boosted the speed of our device, we don't actually see the device getting any faster. Rather, it can get slower than it already was. So it's hard to detect Trojans as they can disguise themselves. So while all these malwares can seem very scary and threatening for our device, what can we do to prevent them? Some steps are given in the slide to better prepare ourselves from these malicious software. While there are 5 steps given here, this doesn't necessarily mean that following these 5 steps will protect you from all kinds of malware. These are rather good practices we should try to follow with a view to better protecting our devices. The first step is to not trust a stranger online. Whether we know it or not, a lot of us don't think it's necessary to properly investigate a random person who we don't know on the internet before engaging with them. An example can be Facebook requests. A lot of us accept random Facebook requests from people we don't know. We can't be sure if that's an account of an actual person or is there something else going on there. So the best practice is to avoid strangers online. The second step is to double check our downloads. Before downloading anything from the internet, first we must ask ourselves if the website from which we are downloading, can that website be considered as trustworthy? When we use a very popular and commonly used website, the chances are the website owners probably have active malware protection, or else so many people wouldn't continue to use their websites. So the chances for potential malware attacks are greater for unpopular and non-trustworthy websites, and we should avoid downloading from these types of websites. The next step tells us that we should avoid logging into accounts during malware removal. So while you have malware or you are trying to remove existing malware from your device, it would be wise not to log into any accounts, as this could create a path for the malware to directly steal your username and password. The fourth step is we need to check our activity monitor. When we're using the internet, we can often drift off into many different kinds of websites, opening 30 to 40 tabs in our browsers, not really being aware of it. And a lot of these websites might not be malware free. So not only downloading from unsecure websites is dangerous, but also visiting them can cause some potential malware attacks. So once in a while, we need to do an activity check on ourselves if we're drifting off way too far in the internet. The last step tells us to run a malware scanner. So basically, we need to install an antivirus software in our device. Antivirus software constantly check for malwares and fight off existing malwares in your device. It is always on the lookout for potential malware attacks, and once found, it restrains the malware from taking any action that can harm your device. So it is recommended for all of us to use a good quality antivirus software for our device.